Imagine you have a little money left over at the end of the month. Maybe it's that unexpected bonus or an amount left over after paying the bills. Most people's first reaction is to think, I'm going to use this money to pay off my debts. It seems like a sensible decision, doesn't it? After all, who doesn't want to get rid of debts as quickly as possible? But this is where Robert Kiyosaki breaks common thinking and completely changes the game. He says, poor people pay their debts first. Rich people make money work first. This phrase may even seem provocative, but it hides a powerful truth about how money really grows. Think with me. If you use all your money to pay debts, what's left to invest? Nothing. And when you don't invest, your money doesn't grow. It simply disappears, like a candle that slowly goes out. Rich people understand that the secret isn't just in zeroing out debts, but in making money work for them even before all the bills are paid. Kiyosaki isn't saying you should ignore your debts. What he proposes is a mindset shift. Before running to pay them, ask yourself, could this money yield more if I invested it? If the answer is yes, maybe paying everything at once isn't the smartest choice. He himself tells that when he was starting out, he had several debts, loans, mortgages, investments that weren't yet profitable. But instead of running to settle them, he used part of the money he had to invest in real estate and businesses that generated cash flow. Over time, these investments grew so much that they paid the debts for him and still left profit. It's like planting a tree. If you use all the seeds to pay the debt for a bag of soil, you'll never see the orchard grow. But if you plant the right seeds, soon the trees will bear enough fruit to pay the debt and still feed you for many years. Kiyosaki invites us to think like the rich, not with fear, but with strategy. Because sometimes paying quickly is easy, but investing wisely is what truly liberates. Now, imagine the following scene. You have a debt with 4% annual interest, and at the same time, you find an investment that promises to yield 8% to 10% per year. Most people don't think twice. They go and pay the debt, believing they're doing the right thing. But according to Kiyosaki, that's exactly where many lose the opportunity to get rich. He calls this opportunity cost, and it's a simple but powerful concept. It means that every time you choose one option, you're giving up another that could give you more results. In other words, what you stop earning by not investing is the true cost of your decision. Let's put it in numbers to make it even clearer. If you pay a debt that charges 4% interest, you save 4%. But if, with the same money, you invest and earn 10%, you're profiting 6% more. That 6% difference over several years can turn into a huge amount. Kiyosaki explains that rich people don't just think about getting rid of debts. They think about how money can multiply before using it to pay anything. They know that time is an ally when money is working and an enemy when it's standing still. It's as if you had two paths. In the first, you pay everything and sleep peacefully, but your money stops growing. In the second, you invest intelligently, let the money bear fruit and then use those earnings to pay the debt. And there's still some left over. Most choose the first out of fear. The rich choose the second out of vision. Kiyosaki says the secret is to use your head, not your heart. The impulse to pay everything quickly comes from fear. Fear of owing, fear of losing control, fear of what others will think. But those who understand finances know that money obeys mathematics, not emotion. Therefore, before paying a debt, he teaches to ask a simple but transformative question. What's more advantageous in the long term, paying this debt or investing this money so it grows and helps me pay it with profit? The answer, in most cases, completely changes the way you see money. And if you're enjoying this content and want to continue learning how to think like the rich, take this opportunity now to like the video and subscribe to the channel. This way, you help us grow, and we continue bringing content that transforms the way you deal with your money. Kiyosaki says not all debt is an enemy. In fact, he states that rich people know how to use debts as tools, while common people see them as a burden. The secret is knowing how to distinguish bad debts from good debts. Bad debts are those that take money out of your pocket every month. For example, credit cards, overdrafts, personal loans with high interest. All of this drains your money without bringing returns. These should be paid as soon as possible because they're like a leaky bucket. The more you put in, the faster the money escapes. But good debts work differently. They're those that put money in your pocket, even if at first they seem like a financial commitment. An example is when someone takes a loan with low interest to invest in a property that generates income, or in a business that produces profit. In this case, the debt is working in your favor, not against you. Kiyosaki uses a very important word: leverage. It means using other people's resources, like the bank's money, to multiply what you have. This is how the rich grow. They don't depend only on their own money, but know how to use good debts to accelerate growth. Think of a mason building a house. If he only has his own hands, the work will take time. But if he uses a lever, he can lift more weight, faster, and with less effort. The same happens with money. Financial leverage is what allows small amounts to transform into great results. The difference is that those who don't understand the game end up using the lever the wrong way, taking on debts to buy things that lose value, like new cars, expensive cell phones, installment trips. Meanwhile, those with an investor mindset use the same lever to acquire assets that generate income: real estate, stocks, businesses, education. Kiyosaki summarizes it like this: the poor use debts to appear rich. The rich use debts to become even richer. When you learn to identify the type of debt you have, everything changes. You stop feeling guilty about owing something and start asking yourself, is this debt taking money from me or helping me earn more? This simple question can transform the way you view your finances and put you on the right path to building real wealth. Kiyosaki says people's biggest financial enemy isn't debt, it's fear. The fear of owing, the fear of losing, the fear of making mistakes. This feeling makes many people make quick and emotional decisions instead of thinking with clarity and strategy. He explains that when it comes to money, emotions usually speak louder than reason. The person sees a bill, feels their heart race, and thinks, I need to pay this now. But what they don't realize is that by acting on impulse, they're often moving away from the financial freedom they seek so much. Kiyosaki tells that at the beginning of his journey, he also felt this fear. He saw the bills arriving and was tempted to use all the money he had to get rid of the debts. But over time, he realized that fear was making him blind and preventing him from seeing opportunities that could change his life. That's when he learned the first secret: control fear before touching money. Because when you decide under pressure, you almost always choose the safest path, and the safest, most of the time, is what makes money grow the least. He often says, fear makes you work for money. Intelligence makes you make money work for you. Controlling fear doesn't mean ignoring debts, but looking at them calmly, without desperation, and asking, what's the smartest plan here? Will this decision bring me closer to freedom, or just give me momentary relief? When you calm down and start thinking like an investor, everything changes. You realize that money is a tool, and like any tool, it's only dangerous if used without control. Kiyosaki teaches that the rich master their emotions before mastering their finances. They know that fear is a trap, and that those who act out of fear always lose opportunities. Therefore, before deciding to pay a debt or invest, he recommends taking a step back. Breathe, analyze, think clearly. Because fear is momentary. But wrong financial decisions can last years. After learning to control fear, Kiyosaki teaches that the next step is to understand exactly what type of debt you have. It's not enough to just know you owe money. It's essential to classify each debt to decide how to act strategically. He divides debts into two main categories: good debts and bad debts. Bad debts, like credit cards with high interest or burdensome personal loans, consume your money and offer little or no return. These should be eliminated as soon as possible. Good debts, like low-interest loans to buy a property that generates income or finance a business, can work in your favor if used intelligently. Kiyosaki emphasizes that many people make the mistake of treating all debts the same way. They think all are enemies and therefore run to pay them immediately, even when some could generate future profits. This is a waste of financial opportunities. The second secret, therefore, is to have clarity about each debt. Which one is draining your money? Which one can generate returns if you keep it for some time? Which one can be paid later without harming your investment strategy? He suggests creating a detailed list of debts, noting the amount, interest rate, and investment potential that each amount could generate if applied differently. With this analysis, you can make intelligent, calculated decisions free from emotional impulse. Kiyosaki compares this classification to a map. If you don't know where you're going, any path seems right. But when you clearly identify which debts are obstacles and which can be levers, each step becomes strategic. This is how debts stop being just a burden and become tools to build wealth. Kiyosaki explains that one of money's greatest forces is compound interest, something many ignore completely. He compares compound interest to a snowball rolling down a hill. At first it seems small and insignificant, but over time it grows faster and faster, accumulating size and strength. Each dollar you invest correctly today can generate returns that, in turn, generate more returns, creating a multiplier effect over the years. When you use all your extra money just to pay debts, even those with low interest, you're stopping this snowball, and your wealth growth is limited. He reinforces that the problem with common mentality is thinking that getting rid of debt quickly is always the best choice. Yes, paying high-interest debts is crucial, but those with low rates can be an opportunity to let money work for you while you keep the debt controlled. Kiyosaki illustrates with a simple example. Imagine you have 10,000 riels and decide to pay a debt with 4% interest. If instead you invested that money in an asset that yields 8% per year, in just a few years, the amount could double, triple, and over decades turn into a huge difference. This is where he reinforces the importance of patience and long-term vision. The power of compound interest isn't immediate, but exponential, and only works if you let the money grow instead of spending it to relieve the fear of owing. The lesson is clear. Every decision to use money to pay debts should be strategic. You should ask yourself, will this money generate more value if I invest it or if I settle this debt now? Mastering this concept is crucial because it separates those who remain in the salary race from those people who truly build solid wealth over time. Kiyosaki emphasizes that to build true wealth, it's essential to think far beyond the current month or year. While most people make financial decisions based on haste, fear, or immediate pressure, the rich see the complete picture, a horizon of 10, 20, or even 30 years. He explains that this long-term vision completely changes how we deal with debts and investments. When you understand you're building something that will bear fruit for decades, the small difficulties and momentary debts no longer seem scary. What previously generated anxiety, bills, loans, interest, becomes just part of the strategic plan. Kiyosaki gives an example. If you decide to invest in real estate or in a business, it may be necessary to deal with temporary debts or financial sacrifices at first. But if you only think short-term, the tendency is to give up early, pay everything quickly, and lose the opportunity to multiply your money in the future. The long-term mentality also helps control the emotional impulse that leads many people to make hasty decisions. Instead of acting out of fear, anxiety, or social pressure, you learn to evaluate each choice within a larger context, understanding how each step fits into your decades-long financial goal. Kiyosaki reinforces that patience is as powerful as the investment itself. He compares it to planting a tree. If you cut it before it grows, you'll never have fruit. But if you care for it with vision and patience, it becomes a source of food and wealth for many years. The secret, therefore, is to train the mind to think in decades, not just about the next bills. This mentality transforms debts from burdens into tools, investments from risks into opportunities, and money into a long-term ally. Imagine for a moment that all the debts you have aren't heavy chains tying you down, but rather powerful levers that can propel your financial life forward. That's exactly what Kiyosaki teaches. When you combine the four secrets, something incredible happens. Fear transforms into courage, chaos into clarity, and stress into strategy. Mastering fear makes you feel in control. Knowing how to classify debts gives you clarity about what really needs attention and what can work in your favor. Understanding the power of compound interest allows you to see money growing day after day, like a seed you planted that now flourishes. And thinking long-term gives you patience, vision, and confidence to make decisions that will reward you for years and decades. When you put all this into practice, each debt that previously seemed like a burden transforms into an opportunity. The high-interest credit card is eliminated quickly, but good debt starts generating cash flow, investment, growth. You stop working for debts and start working with debts, using them as tools to build something greater, your financial freedom. Kiyosaki reminds us that this transformation begins within the mind. Changing the way you see money and debts isn't just a financial strategy, it's a movement of personal empowerment. Each conscious decision you make today is a step toward a life of security, prosperity, and unlimited opportunities. The message is clear. Debts don't define who you are, but how you deal with them can define your future. Those who understand this stop living in the month-to-month struggle and start building real, consistent, and lasting wealth. This is the point where you realize the power is in your hands. You can choose whether you want to continue being hostage to debts or use them as a springboard to a life of abundance and freedom. Kiyosaki ends with a simple and powerful message. Start today. It doesn't matter the size of your debts. Every day you wait is a lost opportunity to transform them into something that helps build wealth. The first step is to analyze your debts carefully. Ask yourself, does this debt harm me or can it help me? Is it worth more to pay now or invest and use the money to grow? Then use part of the extra money like a leftover in the month or a bonus to invest. Even small amounts applied intelligently can grow a lot over time. The secret is to follow the 4 steps together. Control fear, classify debts, let money grow with compound interest, and think long-term. When you do this, your debts stop being a problem and become a tool for your financial freedom. Don't wait anymore. Analyze, decide, and start acting today. Each intelligent choice brings you closer to a future of prosperity and security. If you enjoyed this content and want to help our channel grow, share this video and subscribe to receive more tips and strategies that can transform your financial life.